Hello and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today is January 9th, 2025, and we are going to be making my first and very early prediction for the 2026 gubernatorial races. Now, this is kind of more of an outlook on what it's going to look like. We still have to go through the 2025 gubernatorial races, which will include the states of Virginia and New Jersey, and I will be including those in this prediction so you can get the full gubernatorial races for all of this year and next year, which includes a majority of the states. Most of the states do elect their governors in midterm election years, apart from a couple other ones in between here. And we do have a couple that do also do them in the 2027 election, which will be a year before the next election. But either way, before we get started on today's video, please like and subscribe to this channel. Put our comment suggestions in the section below, and please check out my other content once you're done with this video. Now, to begin with this map, we're going to be doing these safe states, and these are going to be the states that are going to be 12 points or over in the margin for each party. And for Democrats, we're going to have the state of California, which is going to be first. Let me just put this in the right mode. It'll be the state of California, which is going to be the first state. Last time around, Gavin Newsom won the state by a pretty comfortable margin, but not as much as it usually is supposed to be. This is pretty close given how Democrat this state is, but still a 19-point margin. He has to retire this time around, so he will not be running for governor. The person that will end up being the governor will probably be a Democrat, and they will probably end up winning by 12 points or more. Colorado is also another state that Republicans have lost in recent times. This is going to be a safe state. Hawaii is another state that is going to be safe, as well as Maryland up here, Massachusetts. And I believe that'll be it for these safe states. You can make an argument about the state of Illinois, if it could be safe or not, but I do not think the state of Illinois will end up being safe this time around. So Democrats will not have a lot of safe states to begin with this, only 5 that they will win by 12 points or more. But Republicans will have quite a lot. They will have the states of Alaska, Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Iowa, Tennessee, Alabama, South Carolina, and Florida. Florida is going to be a safe state. It is a state that DeSantis won last time by a whopping almost 20 points. 20 points. So this state is no longer competitive anymore. He will not be running for re-election, but the Republican who will be running and who probably end up winning by more than 12 points. Similar story in Texas. This state has gone away from Democrats. Democrats thought they could be able to bring this state closer and closer, but it proved pretty awful, especially even in 2022 and in 2024. In 2022, Abbott was able to win by 11 points, which is very comfortable for a Republican in the state of Texas. And as we know, Trump won it by 14 points 2 years later. Also, the state of Vermont, very popular incumbent Phil Scott will be winning by a pretty huge margin, as he always does in his bids for governor in the state. And that'll be all the safe states for both parties. We have 14 for Republicans and 5 for Democrats going into the likely states. And the likely states will be states that will be between 6 and 12 points for each party. So on the Democrat side, first is going to be the state of Oregon. This is a state that is a little bit closer during those gubernatorial races. As you saw in the 2022 election, the Democrat was only able to win by 6, mainly because of this independent candidate. But still, even with the independent candidate's votes going mostly to the Democrat, she still would not have been able to win by a safe margin. This state will be in the likely column. Same thing in the state of New Mexico, a state that has gone closer in recent times, fairly close in the 2022 gubernatorial race, and this time around I do expect it to be a similar margin. Same thing in the state of Illinois, another state that has gone closer and closer over time, very slowly that is, but still nonetheless going to be under 12 points. Minnesota is a similar story, but I do think Minnesota, given that it is more left-leaning than the other Rust Belt states, will be in that likely column, given that Tim Walz will probably do fairly well in this state. But also the state of Pennsylvania, I do believe, is going to be in that likely column. Josh Shapiro is pretty popular in his state, and I do believe he'll end up winning by just over 6 points in the state of Pennsylvania. As we saw here in the 2022 election, he was actually able to win by a whopping 15 points. That was a very strong win. He will not be able to win by that much this time, but I still think he'll be able to win by a pretty solid amount. And some states in the Northeast will include states like Connecticut and Rhode Island. That'll also be states that will be in that likely column, as well as Maine, and that'll probably round out all the states that Democrats will be winning in that likely column. Republicans will win the state of Kansas, and that will be a flip because this is a Democrat seat, but Laura Kelly is going to be term limited. She won by 2 points last time. There's probably no other Democrat that could hold the state of Kansas. This will probably be an easy flip for Republicans. Same thing with the state of Ohio. That will probably be also in that likely column. Last time, Mike DeWine was able to win by a pretty large amount, and this time I do expect whoever runs. I'm not sure if Mark DeWine is actually going to be able to run again. Let me double check for you guys and see if he is able to run. No, he is term limited, so he will not be able to run for office again, which means that any other Republican right now I would have as an automatic likely win. But we don't know exactly who it's going to be, so we're just going to have to leave it right now between 6 and 12 points. And also we're going to have in the Northeast, this is also going to be a Republican win, given that usually Republicans do very well in the state of New Hampshire when it comes to the governorship and the state Senate and the state House. And now we're going to be left with the states that are probably going to be the closest out of all of them. Actually, I'm going to change my prediction on the state of Nevada. I think this state is going to be actually in the likely column for Republicans. This right here in the 2022 midterms was a 1-point win for Lombardo, and now he is a very, very popular governor, and Trump has expanded his win from 1 point to around 3.5 points. I do think this state is trending more and more Republican every year. And given that he is a very popular governor, I do think he'll end up winning by over 6 points as of right now. So that'll leave us with the rest of these states. We have 7 states left, and these 7 states will probably be the closest out of all of them. And going first to the lean Democrat states, I think the states of Michigan and Wisconsin will be a lot closer than last time, yet still in the Democrats' columns, especially Michigan with the governor they do have now, Gretchen Whitmer. I'm not sure also if she's able to run again, so we are going to double check that right here and see that she is not able to run for a re-election. The Democrat, however, is able to run in the state of Wisconsin. So since Gretchen Whitmer is not able to run for election in the state of Michigan, we are going to have another candidate go in, and thus the margin will definitely be coming down. Since she was able to win last time by a safe margin, it will be coming down significantly. No other candidate will probably be able to perform as good as she was able to. But still, off the bat, I will give Democrats the little bit of edge in these states in the lean column. And lean column are states between 2 and 6%. So these are kind of close, but not yet in that toss-up column. Some other states now that we could be including in the lean column will be the state of New York. And this state right here is definitely flashing warning signs for Democrats. It is a state that used to be 23 points in favor of Joe Biden, gone down all the way to 12 points for Kamala Harris. And also in the gubernatorial race last time around, we had a very abysmal performance for Kathy Hochul, who was only able to win by around 7 points in a very, very Democrat state. And so around 8 points, sorry. And so this is a very, very bad sign. And I do think Republicans will probably not be able to flip this seat for a while, but will be able to be sort of competitive, which brings us also to New Jersey, which we will get to a little bit later after we do fill out some other states that will be not as close as New Jersey. First, the state of Arizona. I do think this state has turned a corner. And even though the Democrat was able to win Katie Hobbs last time around, she was facing against Carrie Lake, very controversial figure. She won by less than 1% against Carrie Lake. I think this time around the state has gone more Republican. We have Donald Trump winning the state by almost 6 points in the 2024 election. And right now I do have this state flipping back Republican, being only a one-term state for Democrats, given that they did perform well in the 2022-2020 election cycles. This time around, I do see it changing in the state of Arizona. It will be flipping back Democrat as of right now. And the final 3 states that are going to be pretty close are going to be Georgia, Virginia, and the state of New Jersey. I do have Georgia being a Republican state right now. This state will be close. I think Brian Kemp is not able to run for re-election, so it will be 2 new candidates. And finally, the 2 states of Virginia and New Jersey. Virginia, Glenn Youngkin cannot run for re-election. The system in Virginia is a little weird, where a governor can only serve 1 term and then they have to wait and then run for re-election 4 years after that. But right now, I do think this state is probably going to stay with a flip back to Democrats, by a narrow amount. But Winston Sears is probably going to be running, and I could see a scenario that she does win, but right now I'm putting it in the tilt column. Similar thing with the state of New Jersey. Right now, this is going to be a tilt state. This is a state that was extremely close in the 2021 Senate elections, where Murphy only won by 3 points. And then it was further backed by the fact that Kamala Harris only won the state by around 5.5 points in the 2024 election, which is a similar margin to what Trump won in the state of Arizona. Nonetheless, this is going to be our map right now. We have Republicans flipping Kansas and Arizona, and Democrats flipping Virginia. But this is going to be our map right now. This is a very, very early map, but I wanted to get this video out for you guys. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe, put all your comments and the suggestions in the section below, and I will check you guys out in the next one.